Hey everybody, Leah Klatt here with the Christian Post, and my guest today is director Mark Forster. He is behind the inspirational new movie Whitebird, hitting theaters October 4th. Well, Mark, it's so nice to meet you. You are just sort of the king of these beautiful, inspirational, and uplifting movies. And of course, Whitebird is no exception. Tell us a little bit about how this movie came to be.
It was just a little bit into COVID. We were already in the lockdown, and everybody was at home, and they sent me the script. My agent sent me the script, and it sparked Bomberg Road, and I was a big fan of Wonder. I loved the book Wonder, and I liked the universe R.J. Palacio created, and said, look, it's based on a graphic novel she wrote. You should check it out. And I read it, and I just was overwhelmed. It was one of the only two scripts I've read at the beginning. At the end, I started tearing up. So I just really emotionally was so moved. And also at the same time, a lot of the movies takes place in a barn, and we were living through a time that we were really tested of seeing who our neighbors are. Are you there for your neighbors? Are there for each other? And it was all themes there were so important. And I felt like there was this this boy whose kindness and bravery saved this girl's life. And I thought I was so moved by the story. I said, I have to tell this I may have to make this movie. So that's how it all came about.
Well, as a father yourself, why is it so important to have these types of movies where we're teaching children the importance of kindness, especially in a society where that's not always celebrated? It's sort of like an us versus them mentality out there.
Yeah, I mean, I love humanity, and I love humans, and I believe, that sort of kindness lives on forever. That's even past when we are gone. If you do create something, you do something for others often, that you don't even know how many people you affect by doing good deeds. And sort of I think that idea of like the light overcomes darkness is something I truly believe in, and I feel it's something that ultimately, I'm a very optimistic person, so I believe always there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and a light that will guide us, and will be, will still be there after we've been around. We might be gone, but the light is still here. And it's sort of this idea of this inspirational love story, and love being eternal. That's I think important for young people to know. And I think a lot of young people don't know, it was a different kind of Holocaust story, because it was an inspirational love story, and it was differently, we differently told. I haven't seen that way of an Holocaust story being told that way. So I was super inspired, and I was thinking all of these story points the script was trying to tell, I think really touched me. And I thought, oh, I can watch it with my daughter, but I also can watch it with my mom, and we can, as it's a four-quadrant movie, and we all can discuss it together, and everybody sees a different part of it. Like my mother sees a different part of history. She's 85, and my daughter sees the love story, and so I just it excites me.
How did you sort of, walk that line? Because you are touching on the Holocaust, which is obviously so tragic and horrific, yet it is also such a beautiful family-friendly film. How did you find that balance?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. You have uh, I feel like you're walking a thin line of trying to not make it too cheesy or too overly emotional, and then you're also trying to make it real, and it's grounded in reality. And at the same time, you're dealing with sort of this magic realism of where the kids enter and journey to. And I think it's all about ultimately trying, always asking yourself what, it's as a director, you have this own filter of trying what feels real, what's too much, what's too little, and trying to walk a thin line. And that's the way I direct actors too. It was interesting. Orlando, who plays Julian, we were talking, him approaching the role at the beginning, that when he ultimately, he walks a little bit more sort of almost slightly like a little bit of a hunchback, but very little. And ultimately, more and more as the film goes on, it becomes more brave, and his bravery comes out. At the end, he's like almost stands very straight, and he becomes this very almost like much more charismatic and leading man. And I try, like, and it's also that the two of them falling in love makes them stronger. And Sarah not even knowing at the beginning of the film that he exists, because he was bullied in the school, and he was sort of someone who you couldn't see. And it's like so important, I think, for young people also. And I think that's why I loved Wonder as well, you know, as it was about bullying. And here you have the the character Bryce, who played the bully, who can find redemption. And I love stories about redemption. And that's something else too, that he gets the second chance. And his grandmother shares her story with him, and it's this family story of, I think, often uh, to get to listen to elderly people and hear their stories, we can learn a lot. And that's another thing I loved about it, just from an educational point of view. Apart from part of the entertainment part, that often we think, oh, like our granny can maybe teach us something, but they have so much to say.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was a kid and my grandmother told me stories, you know, I like was like half listening.
Yeah.
Like it was one ear, not with both.
And now you wish you had those somewhere.
Exactly. Yes. And then there's you know, people, once they're gone, you miss them, and you realize, oh, I should have listened better or spent more time.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and what do you believe is the enduring importance of telling these stories from World War II? Why are these stories so important to remember? And how does Whitebird really contribute to this larger narrative?
You know, I think as it is, you know, an inspirational story that you know, and it's a courageous story. But in the larger narrative, I feel like you can take Whitebird and put it in any kind of, that story can happen anywhere, anywhere in the world, in any country that's in crisis or at war. And it's not even that. I mean, every day someone can do an act of courage or kindness. And I think that's what I really would like to inspire people, is like trying to just very simply be kind to your neighbor, to be kind to people, and try to inspire others to do the same. Because I really believe that humanity, that we can all coexist in a respectful, kind way. That's what always my hope is for. And it doesn't take as much. We just need to be aware and open our hearts.
Mhm. Well, and as you've mentioned, the story is sort of a spin-off to Wonder. How did you balance creating a standalone story while also maintaining a connection to the original film's, themes and characters?
Yeah, you know, RJ Palacio wrote this incredible book called Wonder, and then she wrote the graphic novel, and she used the bully from Wonder and recreated him as the lead in Whitebird. And she sort of created this Wonder universe where she wants to create, you know, trying to create kindness. And I think she did this very well, really cleverly, because I never have seen sort of I wouldn't call it sequel or spin-off. It's like I would use, like, it's sort of like a a, a sister piece or cousin to Wonder, that gives the sort of the bully a redemptive opportunity to redeem himself, and ultimately, you know, become a better person.
Well, and let's talk a little bit about the casting because you have a really wonderful cast. What was it like working with Gillian and with Helen and some of these names that are just so well known, and they're such beautiful actresses. What was that like?
You know, working with Helen Mirren is just such an incredible joy. She's so so amazing, and one has seen her in many movies. And the same with Gillian. I gave like when I first started working with her, I said, look, we've been already shooting. I said, just watch some of the dailies with Ariella and see what I did with her, because you obviously playing Sarah in many years from now. So, and she just soaked it in and just adjusted so subtly, and it's amazing to watch someone like that who is such a pro, who just gives enough and really understands how to shape an incredible performance. And yeah, and I hope I can work with her again, with both of them. It was just joy. And with the kids, it was tricky because I had to. We were doing COVID. You had to cast on Zoom.
Mm.
It was a love story, and I was thinking I better make sure that that connection, that chemistry between two actors, sort of works, because you can't. And usually you can see that in a room, if people can respond to one another's chemistry, but on Zoom it was very hard. So I was just was praying. I hope that works out. And then when we met in person for the first time for rehearsal, it really just blossomed.
Well, this film really has been a long time coming. But how do you feel now that it's finally going to be out there in the world with these incredible messages of empathy?
I think everything has its timing, and I think now the film is even more relevant than it was when I made it. And
Hmm.
because at that time there was peace in the world. I think every story has its timing, and ultimately I didn't control that. So you have to let go and think whenever the world is ready, they will receive it. So that's how I go. That's sort of how I go with. And I'm really just very happy that the movie is coming out now.